from him in particular. The fact that there's a higher priority on Ivern is very curious to me.
Yeah, and it looks like it is, in fact, same picks and bans. Lulu, next ban is going to be Syndra. Yep, and then we've got Ekko, Kennen, Thresh, Twitch. So...
Look, they're going too quick for me. I haven't written this stuff down yet.
This is a fresh restart. You can copy off the notes that I managed to take earlier. And yeah, so we get the chance to see the exact same composition out of Aimee. And OMG still looking very clever as they go for their final swaps. Technically, the most astute of you will notice that it is not identical pick and ban in that Fizz was picked before Lee Sin, but they were picked in the same round of draft for those two, so they just saved themselves a swap later on by picking those champions right here. And Rusty, we're getting into a new game one.
We definitely are. So we're in the quarterfinals. For those that haven't actually been here the entire time through the great pause and they're just joining us now.
The great pause of 2017.
OMG against Aimee. Fresh best of 5. Game 1 never happened. It was all a figment of your imagination, and it starts now with the same picks and bans.
Yeah, and you can see the coaches going over and shaking hands right now as they part ways and head backstage. We're getting back into it. And
indeed.
Now it's time to start talking about the story for these teams once again. Aimee, 4th place, taking on OMG, 2nd place here in the standings. This is a chance for Aimee to continue their progression. Again, their goals for the 2017 Spring Split was avoid relegations. They did that and beat EDG, and they did that as well. So playoffs is all icing on the cake for them. They already managed to take a win off of Chaogu, advancing here to the quarterfinals, and now they're looking to get even higher into the semifinals in this next round.
You have to remember their win against QG was actually a fantastic showing out of the side. They looked very confident. They cleanly dismantled Chaogu. And whether that was QG stumbling at the line or it was Aimee showing up to play, Aimee still looked good.
Yeah.
And so now coming into OMG, they know what happens with this team composition. They know what they're designed to do, and they should be able to at least come up with plans to play against it as best they can this time.
Yeah.
And try and weather what is going to be assassins running around everywhere.
The laning phase in game number 1 was really tough for that bottom lane, and we saw that priority down there from both teams. So we're looking for Aimee this time to respond more appropriately to what we expect to be OMG's aggression with World 6, Icon, and Xiyang. I believe they also took identical summoner spells as well. We'll find out, but it appears that we are now loading back onto the Rift. It is finally happening. The quarterfinals are back on.
It definitely is, of course. Game number 1 being fresh. We have to watch how these assassins, as we mentioned before, actually do show up to play, because they can snowball quite heavily. OMG did it a little bit in the remade game that happened beforehand. They get an inch, they can take a mile. They've got an Ekko, they've got a Fizz. By the way, Fizz should not be here, but it is. AmazingJ picking the Kennen into it seems to be a confidence decision that he can play a ranged champion with high mobility on the Lightning Rush. You get it at level 2, and you try and auto-attack the heck out of Xiyang. Avoid the W damage that the Fizz can put down, and theoretically, you will be okay in the lane, but it's not that simple. One mistake, and it's most of your health gone against an Ignite Fizz.
Yeah, and that's what we saw in game number 1 with Xiyang solo killing AmazingJ in that top lane. So a chance now to find out if he can show that he has learned from his mistakes as he went backstage and sort of reset for this next match. Double 5-man invades to go for wards to keep an eye on those junglers early on. World 6 is now spotted with Xiyang as they head on over towards Raptors, and that will be spotted by Aimee. They've also got a deep ward behind red buff, and they see Ben 4 is actually starting on his own. That's a leashless start from Ben 4, whereas World 6 is getting some help from Xiyang.
Elise obviously needing a leash of some kind, or he's just going to die basically to the first camp. Ben 4 having Spiderlings will be able to hit level 2. He can take out this camp by himself perfectly fine, use both spells when he gets to the red buff to have 2 Spiderlings back again. And relative to the amount of health World 6 loses, Ben 4 will have the same.
And look at this, World 6 doesn't even finish off the Raptor camp. He gets level 2 off the Tiny Ones and invades the blue. Ben 4 is already there, though. Takes Blast Gun over the wall. He sees it. They do both have Smite, and World 6 decides to head back towards his own side of the jungle. Very cheesy play coming into this remade game.
That was cheesy from World 6, but Ben 4's awareness of the fact that it was being done to get there on time and actually push World 6 out. We already said the health that World 6 loses is quite important. He has no potions. He's pretty much dying to red buff. Will have to smite it to keep his health up. And we have to watch where he goes from this point. Does he just go back to base, finish the Raptors perhaps before going to Wolves then base? Like, it's risky now. And you'd say Ben 4 has the tempo.
Yeah, he's looping around towards that bottom side. Ben 4 seems to be heading into the river, looking to catch Scuttle or perhaps invade into the jungle and further capitalize on the low health of World 6. As Icon pops over for a favorable trade, you know he's recalling anyway, so
yeah,
just getting the best that he can.
He's actually going to stop the recall because that trade was so favorable. He can get another wave in, and perhaps that next wave gives him a little bit extra control with his Doran's ring or wherever he would like to go now. Just because he's able to actually chunk out Athena, he feels a little bit more confident pushing one more wave down. He does have teleport. He started with refillable potion Dark Seal, so it could just be a Doran's and corrupting potion if he's lucky enough to have enough farm.
Oh, we see a dive going on up
Athena.
top. Ben 4 is bringing Krugs. Xiyang is level 3. He's got Playful Trickster. It's Ben 4 taking aggro, who lands the cocoon, and they get first blood. Ben 4's Spiderlings lock it down.
That was really well executed from Ben 4 in particular. AmazingJ waiting for the cocoon, doing all of his burst. No chance to escape for the Fizz. Athena's teleport, an afterthought almost, wasn't even a part of the kill, just wastes the teleport. Icon's now able to be perfectly fine. Of course, it does get cancelled, I believe, from when he was in base to assist them. But he's going to get to lane a little bit sooner. So Karma gains nothing, but top lane and jungle for IMA gains everything.
Ooh, Road is now going to spot World 6. Gets the hook onto Krug. World 6 gets it, but that's Ignite burned as well. He still hasn't recalled and has made a pretty good jungle clear since his early deficit, especially now that he can punish Ben 4 a little bit by taking that Krug.
The saddest part about that is that the hook was designed to try and actually take the Krug, not to go in and follow it up. So he follows it by not getting the Krug down, tries to flay it. Lee Sin still gets it, and then he gets a little bit antsy, ignites him, thinks he has an opportunity to kill, throwing out the lantern for Jinjao. None of it happens.
Yeah, now we get to see him trade down here in the bottom lane. Sidesteps the bubble as Jinjao gets a favorable trade. Ben 4 gets onto Icon. The cocoon tags him. He's got no teleport, but does have flash. They're doing damage. He's caught by the snare. And that is another kill for Ben 4, a completely different remake game 1.
And it's just as simple as giving him the blue buff at level 2, just getting that slight edge. Diving top lane now has 2 kills to his name. Top is snowballed, mid is a Karma, and the Elise is the member of the team getting these kills. So that money, that damage advantage they've got in the jungle position, as long as he doesn't die to Krugs, will be rotating
Raptors.
around the map.
You really meant to finish
They're
that
not
one
Krugs,
off.
they're Raptors.
26 health, 13!
No!
2 health! Oh! He takes his hand off keyboard. Woohoo! That was closer than it should have been as Road nails a hook onto 5, pulls him in. And 5, chunked down to about 200 health, is still pushing this wave.
That was getting spicy in the jungle, though. That's the kind of play that turns around very poorly for you. Not just from dying, but having to recall, being a little bit too efficient. Maybe he just wanted that extra item. He still has a good purchase, however. Just means no control ward, maybe.
Yeah. Now we see 5 and World 6 hanging out bottom in Tri-Bush. They know they haven't been spotted.
Thresh is recalling. If he goes and Jinjao stays, at risk. Remember, 2 summoners are available for the Kog'Maw, but the play's still there. If the bubble connects, he dies.
Oh man, Jinjao is going to stay for the...
His ward just died
minion.
too. That ward just died. He has no idea.
Steps forward. There's SMLZ. Chronosphere is already in front of him, but he sidesteps one direction. They've got more than enough burst. The 4-man dive to execute Jinjao.
And that's actually really tragic for Jinjao. He's aware something was up. He wasn't playing aggressively to try and kill SMLZ, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be able to save himself. Both summoners used. Ultimately, Jinjao should have used no summoners and just took it and died willingly for the trade potentially happening on the top side of the map, which IMA are doing.
Yeah, we see them rushing down the top tier 1. They've even brought Athena from the mid lane. And IMA, with a slight pace advantage, get there first. That is first brick for IMA along with their first blood.
Fantastic stuff from IMA. Obviously a nice turnaround between both game ones.
Yeah, game 1 and game 1.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what to call it. Anyway, the big thing here is that Xiyang, non-existent in farm, non-existent in experience, being pressured by the entire team of IMA. And it's not that he is just behind, it's that they're continuing to put him further behind, ensuring that he plays no part in this game, does not get solo kills, just gets nothing.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of experience to his name, but that's about it. Nearly 35 CS behind when that wave is going to be cleared, as now we can see IMA going back to the same strategy as they lost their bottom tier 1. They send Jinjao back towards mid on that Kog'Maw. Here comes Road, and he's got Ben 4 coming up from the jungle. But Icon's level 6. Gets the flash, Chronosphere. He's got more than enough damage. The bubble to follow through, and a kill goes to 5. Oh, and the BM.
Oh my god, he even dances on the spot. Icon, you're a madman. now going mid lane. That is good for OMG. You have to give them some credit where it's due. They've actually got 2 kills now onto the Kog'Maw.
Ooh, plays it back.
Smlz in trouble.
Tags Smlz, that slicing Maelstrom. They've got so much damage. He flashes back and is saved by his jungler. Gets that stealth as Icon resets the aggro once again, and the play is turned.
The fact that they survived there is still the saving grace of OMG right now, because if they got kills under the Kennen, something goes awry and people actually do pass away, then I may have control of more than just one lane on Summoner's Drift, but they don't. It is top lane where the big advantage lies. The Fizz is going to be super behind. He'll be able to catch up eventually, but that's a hard slog to actually get up that kill. Right now, OMG are banking on their mid laner. They're banking on their mid jungle, perhaps getting a duo off, and Fizz just needs to hit the fish onto a carry. Even if he's behind, he'll be able to kill that carry.
Yeah, and that's very important for Xiyang to be able to land. He's going to be doing it from a huge deficit. You can see him freezing top to catch minions. But Aimee, well aware of the fact that Fizz is completely out of the game despite that teleport, are using that to push mid lane.
There's an Ekko flank coming.
Break it down. Yeah, here he comes. Icon from the side. He's got no summoner spells. AmazingJ halfway for the cooldown on that slicing Maelstrom. And Smlz is able to get a few hits to clear out some of those minions, but that turret is not long for the world.
The thing is, like, Icon is the wave clear for this team until there's level 6 out of Smlz. Maybe he uses it to ult the wave if that's what they need to do, but without the Ekko, Aimee siege, they will be successful. You can see now that he's here, no opportunity to take the turret down. It's just catching OMG sleeping.
Yeah. And with that, it's 1,000 gold lead advantage for Aimee with that CS, with that first brick that they've been able to garner for themselves. A recall is going to refresh road. Jinjao is still feeling pretty great, as he did go for the very aggressive turret style build with boots and some long swords.
They're just sharing bomb.
And yeah,
oh, the stun.
AmazingJ gets pinned by the Chronosphere. Bubble follows up, and they've got more than enough damage because it's a BF sword start from Smlz.
A crazy amount of damage actually coming out of OMG's carries. Of course, you expect it from the Ekko, but what we hadn't really mentioned is, yes, Smlz spent that last fight running away, but he's actually sitting pretty. He's been farming well. All of the pressure that went on to Jinjao means that Twitch has an advantage. He's definitely scaling up and is going to be a force to be reckoned with as this game progresses, and that's the big difference between these teams. There's a fed Kennen, there's a fed Ekko, but one of their hyper carries will be online far sooner, just because he is a Twitch. He has the 2-item gap that he's able to bridge towards a little bit sooner, perhaps more cost efficient in his build as well. The Kog'Maw's behind, he's going to take longer, he needs to ramp up.
Yeah, a lot of items are very important for that Kog'Maw, very item dependent. And with that, we can see him sticking in that mid lane for a long time, trying to catch as many minions as possible. This recall finishes off the Bilgewater Cutlass.
This doesn't feel like enough.
It's nowhere near enough at the 11-minute mark. Again, this is still very early into the game. We've had a very fast lane swap to put Jinjao mid after he got dove bottom, but then he just got dove again mid. So with that sort of presence on the map, how do you keep Jinjao safe? How does Aimee ensure that they have that late game hyper carry safety?
Yeah, the problem is they've taken outers in side lanes, so to actually have the safe lane, he has to be mid. There's no opportunity for him to farm safely against assassins, against 2 teleports, unless he is sitting mid lane. And even then, they don't know where Twitch is if he's ever invisible. He could just be ulting on you immediately. There could be a third person around in World 6 flanking the Kog'Maw. So it's all about protecting him. And the way that Aimee have been doing this as they take down the Cloud Drake is Aimee have actually put the Kennen mid lane. They had him there for like 3 waves. They've got the Karma still mid with Jinjao now and again, just to try and keep him healthy and happy, because he is the late game. He is the guaranteed damage that comes out as they scale up.
And this is Aimee's known, and I don't want to say patented strategy, but this is something that they fall back on so frequently, is waiting for that super late game hyper carry to come online.
It's just such a big investment though, Dom, because they let Xiyang catch up a bit. He's now going to be pretty tanky. He's going to do a reasonably good job.
And you can even see bringing 4 members of OMG into the mid-tier 1 to get damage onto the turret. Yeah, sure, you land the hook, and here comes Ben 4. They might try to collapse, but the turret's already taking a lot of damage. Cocoon finds Smlz, but there's no follow-up. Jinjao so far back. Xiyang managed to tag road with the Chum the Waters.
Well, they want him. He's actually on.
Yeah, Ben 4 is way out of position.
Flash.
Sonic Wave lands. There's the insect. He sidesteps to make his way over the far side. Rift Herald isn't there. He sidesteps the Sonic Wave with that vision, but there's nowhere for you to go, Ben 4. It's going to take one hell of an outplay. Tries to turn it around for a kill instead. Repel to stall this out, but that's just going to be Smlz picking up that kill.
Yeah, and they make sure Smlz gets it. World 6 could have followed the queue. I believe he chose not to as well, so kudos to OMG giving gold, and again, coming back from this really poor start for themselves. Better lane assignments for the most part. and just thriving in this chaos where IMA is suffering.
And now IMA might have to fall back on that late game patient strategy as they find their jungler with so much gold on their team giving up a kill here. Still, it's very close in overall gold, but it's where that gold is allocated. As you said, huge advantage for AmazingJ, but Xiyang, he's starting to go tanky. He's starting to be relevant.
201 is pretty much enough to win the entire game by himself already. The items, once he completes the first major item, if there's no Blade of the Dawn King there for the Kog'Maw, then Smlz can 1v1 everybody on the team pretty much. He needs to have 5 around. Yeah, it might become a 2v2. AmazingJ has stuns. Athena has the ability to survive, but I wouldn't imagine anybody's actually able to contest the raw damage output that the Twitch has got for himself.
Yeah, and we're seeing Smlz actually going for a very heavy DPS-oriented build with that BF sword, and then Zerker Greaves, Zeal, and another dagger to finish off his attack speed item up next. So very heavily prioritizing those stats right now. It's yielded one result in that mid-tier 1, and now OMG are responding appropriately by sending him up top. Though we do see the trade as Chumblewaters is able to clear out that minion wave. Teleport stalls it for a little bit, but do they have enough minions to finish this off? They're actually giving up top completely.
Yeah, the teleport was under the Kennen minion, even though it got knocked away, so ignore the animations. They have enough to actually take this down, so yes, they will be trading turrets. In fact, it'll take too much time for OMG to get the top turret down, so they send 5 back to base. They're probably going to put him bottom, and it will take one more wave for the Twitch to get this turret. Good tempo now from IMA if they chose to go for another turret, but for some reason, with no Drake available, they don't want to go bottom, even though Fizz has no ultimate. So instead, they're choosing to get the last remaining outer turret in the middle lane, the safest objective.
And you can see Icon pushing forward to clear out that minion wave against Athena. Ekko great at keeping those minions away from the turret, but he will have his work cut out for him right now. Top tier 1 goes down and all that gold drops into Xie's coffers. He's going to be quite happy for that, but there you can see the minion wave gets cleared out, and suddenly this push stalled out even longer.
And you have to wonder why they didn't commit to staying in the bottom lane. They had the resources down there. You can see the vision on your mini-map. Down in the bottom right, all of the blue wards there for IMA. They were safe. They were definitely able to keep threatening Xiyang. It has worked for them so far in this game, IMA, to actually give them the gold. Not advantage anymore, but the lead beforehand. Instead, playing it too safe.
Yeah.
Not willing to take risks.
Perhaps that could cost them as time goes on. Jinjao is swapped over towards that extended lane by his tier 2. He has to catch these minions. You can even see the respect from AmazingJ. He's already finished his wit's end, but he wants to play away from that Fizz because it is so volatile. Athena finds 5 on a warding mission, tags him on the way out. Smlz is sneaking his way through along with World 6.
They know World 6 is there. They don't know Smlz is. They do now.
Should have seen that Luden's proc if they were watching the animation, but suddenly that's a hook to pull AmazingJ in, but Chumblewaters used very early, and it's OMG setting the pace with this pressure. Icon is still mid, but he's got teleport.
Yeah, Icon can always be around, and Jinjao can't. He's actually top lane. Look at him immediately leave. Does want to get the next wave, but by doing so, you can see how OMG may react to this. Send Fizz top, or keep him around. He can teleport when it comes to it. They have no turret to defend in the top lane. They have turrets to push down in the bottom lane. OMG, this is the right decision.
Yeah, and it's certainly yielding results so far as they're getting a little bit of chip damage onto the turret, but more importantly, pulling the attention of IMA away as Icon is just running them across the map. The 1-4 setup, just getting some free damage on here. Yes, this is at the cost of time for that Kog'Maw, but OMG, if they can make something happen, can definitely make up for it. Tidal Wave misses. Icon over the wall. They do secure the kill.
That was a lot of damage, more than I was expecting from Icon, but he has the Proto Belt, able to chunk him out. Compliments of Smlz setting it up, and the zoning out of the Nami. OMG rinse and repeat this strategy. Jinjao's finally left the top lane, has collected some farm for himself, so he'll be happy with that. But that farm doesn't win your team the game this early on, 16 minutes in, where OMG can translate those kills into at least small objectives.
Yeah, and perhaps this is some big personality that we're seeing out of Icon. Taunting under turret, laughing while he's clearing wards, diving so aggressively for these kills. Perhaps his emotions showing up in this remade game
he's confident, I can tell you that much. One other thing, however, when you are looking at IMAs, yes, their Kog'Maw is a little bit behind. He does have one completed item. What they do have is Athena's item build. He's gone. They're very gold efficient, support heavy itemization choices of Ardent, Sensor, which will buff the Kog'Maw a little bit more anyway. and the Athena's Unholy Grail. So he's actually set for team fighting right now. He's in a point of power, almost exceeding everybody else on the map, just because his completed items are so cheap.
And as a result, we see Aimee utilizing that pressure. They group up as 5, collapse on the Ocean Dragon as it spawns and take it quite swiftly. Xiyang gets the opportunity to split push on the other side of the map, and once again, they're going to try to break down this tier 1, and finally they've got enough. Just put Kog'Maw next to Karma, keep him safe.
Ooh, World 6 still looking.
Yeah, finds Spiderlings when Xiyang actually has a flank. Chum the waters onto Road. It's not huge range. Flash Bubble finds no one.
Good hook.
As Road gets a hook to pull 5 in. They burst the support, but the Chronosphere is dodged. Meanwhile, a big kick delivers Jinjao to Icon. He flashes back. Smlz flashes away. Icon's taking these hits. He replaces himself back in and gets flayed as Aimee turn the chase around. 3 kills for Aimee.
And Road legitimately just danced on Icon's dead body. Take that.
The BM in answer. Look at the face on the bottom right of your screen. He is not happy after that one, but Aimee certainly are. They're going to continue chasing. They've got a minion wave here.
Yeah, Aimee, they're able to actually turn around the tempo in this game, get another good team fight for themselves. This time, actually as a 5-man unit, but it's Road's hook. Road's ability to actually take these fights out. The fact that he gets Thresh and is now able to work his magic could be what Aimee needs.
Yeah, Tidal Wave is used to clear out that minion set, just to keep the turret standing and stall this out as OMG going aggressive and Aimee showing their characteristic determination.
And Xiyang starts this off by getting a fish onto Road. Not the target you want. The hook onto 5 is fantastic. OMG choosing to engage, however, as after that happens, is almost like an afterthought, a reactive, but we have to engage now or we're committed anyway. By doing so, yes, the Lee Sin kick is fine. The Ekko doesn't get the kill. They have too much protection for a Kog'Maw. They're able to dismantle OMG. If Fizz isn't actually going to play a threat because he's just going onto the support, he needs to reassess what he's doing and why he's flanking.
Yeah. It was, in fact, AmazingJ who got the successful flank with the flash slicing Maelstrom.
Yes,
is it flank if you go in from the front?
Nope.
Okay. The forward chase then, stalling that fight out long enough for Jinjao to sit and spit, as predicted on that Kog'Maw. And now, 20 minutes in, it's Aimee who are in the lead. Probably very glad that the game did end up being a remake, and despite the kills being on big people for OMG, Icon, and Smlz, you're starting to see that Kog'Maw come online with the help of Athena.
Yeah, you definitely see the makings of Aimee's team composition, what it's going to be able to do when you hit the later stages. So the fact they want a team fight at 18 minutes perhaps in the game with an item disadvantage or even a gold disadvantage bodes well for them moving past this point in the game, but they are still against assassins. Remember that. So OMG lose a team fight because they don't assassinate the target in Jinjao. But if they do that, which is what their team composition will be very good at doing, then realistically, it will still be lights out for Aimee because OMG have a hyper carry themselves in Smlz.
Yeah. And it's the question of which hyper carry will survive the longest or deal the most damage. Very dangerous game to be playing at the 21-minute mark. Recall from Icon as he split pushes and again slowly gets a little bit of chip damage onto that tier 2. And we can still see AmazingJ catching those minions bottom. He's got Wit's End and is looking to go tanky on this Kennen. Hopefully we'll be able to see him continue to maintain his advantage. He's now 50 CS ahead of Xiyang as he's left running back and forth trying to decide which minion wave I want. Icon's top, Smlz's mid, I guess I go bottom.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. He wants to match where Xiang's going if Baron's going to be a priority. Ocean Drake's still not up for a little bit just yet, so definitely lane assignments towards top laners on the bottom of the map makes the most sense. The question for me with Aimee is, who do they send to answer Icon? And if they do send Athena, is it actually worth it when they want him to be protecting the Kog'Maw? When you think about it, if a teleport comes through from both of the side laners, mid laners being in top, whatever it may be, if Ekko gets there late, it's okay. If Athena gets there late, it's not necessarily okay if OMG are the ones engaging, because that could already mean that Jinjao is dead.
Never want that to happen with that Kog'Maw. Now a level down, but he is trying to get some experience as his team escorts him through the jungle. Recall, he's got Zeal, and that's Runaan's. Okay, 22 minutes in, Kog'Maw is going to start doing some big damage, especially with the help of Athena and AmazingJ now prepping this minion wave mid. As we've said, Baron has spawned, so they're setting up vision on that side of the map. You can see OMG have got plenty of wards to teleport to, and they do have both teleports available.
You would expect, however, because Road just recalled, that the vision will now get directed a little bit more so towards the Ocean Drake that is up in 1 minute. They'll go straight through the middle lane where they actually have a control ward prepped up and the wave crashing. If If they had control, they would have translated that straight through it because OMG are there first. Let's see where 5's moving.
Yep. Heading right on down towards getting that vision with his team. World 6 is actually on a solo mission looking for wards. He finds Athena trying to single-handedly ward out the Baron. Luckily, he's not punished by the rest of IMA as they are contesting the setup from Smlz and 5. Just sneaking around. Jinjao sitting so far back.
OMG really wanted that one with Smlz being invisible.
They really do.
Opportunity presents itself, then they'll always want to be the ones to take it. Speaking of opportunity.
Ooh, flash flay on the Smlz. He's got to land the follow-up hook, and he finds 5. Not the target he wants. Jinjao's in the back, but there's teleport as Icon's coming to kill him, and they're trying to manage to kill Road as he split from his team. Ben 4.
Oh, there it is.
Huge sonic wave. Jinjao gets delivered into the team. He flashes back, but Xiyang follows up with World 6. An easy kill for OMG as IMA are falling apart at the seams here. Huge Soul Flare does some damage, but it's nowhere near enough. They're at very low health against Kennen and Karma, so they'll just decide to clear out Vision and Recall instead.
Do the easy option, maybe get the Scuttle Crab, go back to base, reassess their health bars, maybe look at an Ocean Drake. Very aggressive. This play from Road, too patient, waiting for the flash for too long to the point where a Nami Tsunami can come through. Xiyang gets a fish on a flank, and World 6 with Icon able to completely body Ben 4 and then kick Jinjao towards Smlz. Throughout this time, remember, Smlz killed Road. If you're going to engage as the Thresh and the hook misses, oh, hello.
You're on the Baron. IMA are trying to fight. Athena shows up. World 6 will die. Smlz will die. That's 2 kills now to AmazingJ. Icon's able to finish him off with
No one's
Xiyang,
getting the Baron.
But the Baron goes down. It's at 1,400 health, 1,000 health. Icon's
Elise
over the
is
wall,
here.
ready to go in. And Ben 4 racing forward. They're trying to stall it out. He leaps in, and that's Ben 4 getting the kill. Icon dies, and IMA get the Baron over an aced OMG.
We just watched OMG go into a replay, win a team fight, and as we went into that replay, we said there is no reason for them to be doing a Baron. Well, guess what happened? They did what we said they shouldn't do. And from what was a one team fight, perhaps a slight edge going to OMG is now gone. 4k gold to IMA, a Baron buff to IMA. Kog'Maw's got his items, so because there was one poor team fight that goes awry, irrelevant. Summoners are now gone. IMA are a stronger team.
Absolutely. And with that, they break down the mid tier 2. They've got a minion prep bottom. Here's that fight from the beginning.
So my assumption is that they actually sent Xiyang to base the teleport into assist with this. But throughout all of this time, OMG, the smite was used already by World 6. He was never going to keep himself alive. They weren't going to kill AmazingJ. He rushed Frozen Mallet, so he was super tanky. And then I may force them. Xiyang could have left here, Icon could have left here, but the decision was, before the Elise arrives, do as much damage as you can to the Baron. They get it to about 300. 300 is not enough to beat a smite.
It is close, but no cigar. Graves is probably rolling over right now. And just like that, the bottom tier 2 also has been defended by OMG. We've got recalls setting up. You just saw Ocean Dragon number 2 being picked up for IMA, and they've got a third one coming up soon. Luckily, OMG are a very burst comp, so if they can get through Jinjao before the fight becomes too spicy, they don't quite have to worry about that, but we're seeing some big items. Luden's Ekko now finished on Athena. Ben 4 has got his Locket of the Iron Solari. AmazingJ now with the Frozen Mallet for dealing with Xiyang and Icon. Not to mention the Kog'Maw himself, also finishing off his own Phage. So things are looking a little bit dire for OMG as perhaps some impatience coming out of that pause.
I think it's definitely just impatience from both of these teams. Ultimately, the engage that happened for OMG to win a fight was poor, but then the follow-up from OMG committing to the Baron was also ultimately just a bad decision. And you can see that reflected now in the gold difference between these teams. IMA looking to Siege. OMG, their best way to deal with sieges based off their team composition is fighting.
Oh, a great hook catches him as he comes down from the playful Trickster. Luckily, Locket keeps him safe as a slicing Maelstrom dissuades any chase. AmazingJ chunks Smlz down to half. Icon drops the Chronosphere, but there is no follow-up. Jinjao walks up to the turret and shreds through. Protect the Kog'Maw and protect your lives.
Exactly right. Smlz has nobody to protect him in that instance, just using everything that they have to try and keep Xiyang alive because of another hook from Road. This man cannot be stopped.
Yeah, he's just continuing to toss these out left and right. Ben 4 has to dodge the Chronosphere. Protobelt is used to clear out some of the minions. They immediately race forward once they see it's gone. The bubble misses, and the inhibitor is broken as IMA charge forward, and OMG are forced back to the fountain.
Move speed, health, attack speed, everything a Kog'Maw could want, and a free inhibitor to be seen now from Aime with an advantage like this. Go back to base, purchase all of their items from the gold they just accrued for themselves, and maybe that then translates towards the rest of the map. They are well and truly in the driver's seat. OMG needs something special now.
Yeah, Jinjao working now towards his Trinity Force. He's got Stinger picked up. Another needlessly large rod for Athena. You're even seeing some more stats as Runon's is finished for AmazingJ. Oh, man. Aime now very much in the driver's seat. Their Baron buff wears off, and OMG are moving forward back into the mid lane. Seems like Aime are setting their sights on that top tier 2 turret, and OMG will have to respond.
They definitely will, but really, we already mentioned this. With the Baron gone anyway, OMG will have a better time. They can actually clear waves again, but they need the Ekko to be around. There is no option to 1-3-1 for this roster, or turrets will just start to drop very easily. Aime complete control. One hook will pretty much just win the game.
Yeah. It all comes down to one shot. Icon
Spaghetti
sets up the Chronosphere, just zoning away the rest of Aime. They're playing around it really well, fighting over vision. Athena shows himself mid, but he's got teleport, and there are so many wards on that side of the map that he can teleport to.
Control ward's also playing a big part in this right now, denying OMG flank vision. That's where Thresh can come into play. Karma can get a cheeky Mantra-empowered Q off, put half health onto a carry, and you're in trouble.
AmazingJ goes in, Icon finds Road, that's the support, immediately leaps back around. They don't know at this fight,
Smlz
as
free
that's
hitting.
a big shot. Jinjao trying to deal some damage in the back, and as you said, Smlz doing some shots. Super minions are still pushing in from the bottom lane. They've got double ocean, they can just reset and set the siege again.
Best case scenario from Aime right there is that none of them die. OMG engage properly, they find Road, and suddenly they have to send people to defend their Nexus turrets. So now this turret in the top lane will get siege from them, and they'll actually mean it, because they can take it down. They can continue to look if they want. The only risk right now is perhaps the health bars. However, 2 Ocean Drakes, if Road stays out of combat, he'll be okay.
Yeah, he's continuing to heal up, getting 26 health per second. And you can see how effectively they're starting to chip away at these turrets. Icon, that impatience is suddenly going to become a really big problem. You saw OMG look for the fight. They knew that was their chance to break the siege before the super minions get in, but they were unable to find the kill, and thus they lost their tier 2. World 6 gets a kick, but there's a hook. Flash Cocoon, he dashes back and survives, but only just. As AmazingJ escorts him back, and now that is a very low health jungler, they go right back top and try again.
You have to wonder what World 6 was doing. Why is he invading down there when he doesn't have the team to actually work around him? No support to keep him alive. He has to kick, he has to flash and dash. And now they siege top.
Yeah, the inhibitor turret breaks. Jinjao walks off the Chronosphere and is fine. Hook onto 5 as they're forcing a fight. Ben 4 gets the cocoon onto Xiyang, and Jinjao is doing damage. A bubble catches Jinjao, but there's still no follow-up. And look at the shred on that Kog'Maw. When he is empowered, he does work. Icon is looking for a way in, but there isn't one. Super minions are on the Nexus turrets, and Aime are battering in from the other side.
So much damage coming out of this Kog'Maw. In the battle of the hyper carries, there's definitely one winning right now. And that is going to be Aime, because he's got a team protecting him. He's got a Karma surrounding him, providing damage and support. And OMG are only left with desperation.
There's a hook onto World 6. He's pulled back, and they've got more than enough burst as the turret breaks again. Smlz flashes back. Icon tries to chrono break to safety, but 3 inhibs are down. Jinjao is well and truly online. This battle station is fully operational, and the base of OMG, Alderaan itself, does not stand a chance as they are firing their laser.
This could just be the very simple game 1 picked up Aime here, Dom.
Yeah, it looks like it might be. They're forcing them back onto the Nexus now. The Fountain trying to heal up, but Athena and Jinjao clean it up. You can see the big shout from AmazingJ as he wraps up game number 1. And 3.5 hours later, they are able to do it.
It took an awful long time to finish one game, I'm not going to lie. However, the game has in fact ended. And what was honestly OMG having an advantage has now completely backfired right against them. Icon danced.
Yeah.
Road hit Super Saiyan and danced on his dead body.
Getting that Thresh, and this was with the exact composition. You can see them heading backstage right now looking perhaps very frustrated after that game. And here's the gold graph for that after all. You can see OMG did look good for the early game. It was fairly close. They found themselves at a slight deficit as Ben4 managed to pop off and land a few hooks, but there just was no follow-up from that. Icon got an assassination, Smlz got a few kills, but these tiny things themselves do not yield a game.
I mean, the first thing that we have to highlight actually about this game was that they were close earlier in the game, and OMG came back from a position where you wouldn't say they should have that handily, but it's because they were able to get ganks off bottom, keep Jinjao down. They gank off mid onto Jinjao again, and they forced really improper lane assignments out of Aimee, and they broke the game up from laning phase extremely early. But by breaking it up that early, remember that Xiyang was so far behind because this is what Aimee had done. They empowered AmazingJ. They gave him farm, they gave him kills, they dove people to try and actually take him apart. And the end result of this is that Aimee just scaled up better as a team, where OMG only had 1 or 2 members doing well.
Yeah, and while we did see Aimee sort of scale up, the fact that we got to see Aimee come in after this break and play a completely different style to game number 1 speaks to the determination that we so often allude to. The fact that this is such a hard-working team that even if they find themselves down so much in game number 1, they still had the comp to play it out. And we could see what happens when it starts to get ahead and it starts to snowball.
Yeah, they're a good mental team, so they'll always come back into what is now game number 1 that has just finished very well. They thought it out properly. They drafted themselves late game properly. They came into it with the right mindset, and even after having a slight deficit happening early in the bottom lane for Jinjao, he's the big carry of the team, they still brought it back for him, right? They still actually gave him the kills, set him up for success. The Karma built supportive to ensure that he was still doing damage, or just trusting that he will do damage when realistically a 0-2 Kog'Maw doesn't do as much as a 2-0 Twitch. They still do it. They still play around it incredibly well.
Yeah, and suddenly that Ivern ban from OMG makes so much sense, because if you could imagine the Karma and the Ivern all together, that would be crazy. We've actually got a replay to show you of that Baron fight that was so great for Team Aimee when they were able to get it back, but setting themselves up for success here.
Yeah, I remember during this time OMG are currently throwing at the Baron buff, but this is the one big fight that pretty much gave OMG the edge in this game. You would have expected that from this position, OMG would have been in a complete position of power to actually win the entire game. Tragically for them, try as they might, honestly, it didn't actually result in that because of the one positive play actually giving Aimee a 4,000 gold lead from exactly this moment. It's the decision-making of maybe getting overexcited, thinking they're further ahead than they are, or perhaps thinking it's later in the game than it actually is. Small things like that just result in a positive becoming a major negative.
And this sort of speaks towards the mentality that we saw a little bit from OMG in that set, with Icon dancing on the corpse of, I believe it was Jinjao that he caught, and then Road coming back and doing the exact same thing. And then in the later team fights, you could really see how desperate he was to get into the back line, find the kills, and just tragic that he wasn't quite able to pull it through.
Yeah, it's a little bit tragic, but at the same time, you have to actually highlight game number 1 and really think towards the second game and what they should actually be doing here, OMG, because I didn't like their draft all that much. I feel like their draft is fine in that they're like 5 separate entities that can hard carry themselves, or 4 in a support that's meant to empower all of them. The Ekko can split push, they can 1-3-1, but they're against a team that is 100% going to dive you, and most of those dives started with this man.
Yeah, Road getting the MVP for this game, 1, 1, and 10. Those hooks almost single-handedly turning some of those fights around. The fact that they were diving a tier 2 and Road could turn that into a 1-team fight for them.
And the fact that he's hitting the hooks, honestly, as well. He's finding Elise in when he's aiming for Twitch, because World 6 is throwing his body in front of Smlz to protect him. Things like that. Just knowing who to throw it at, when to throw it, how to be in the right place at the right time. You've got AmazingJ flanking. And he really, Road had an easy job in that game. I will put it simply. He had a simple job. He had everyone around him doing their part well. He just had to place wards, walk up to the turret where everybody was already sieging and a Karma was zoning them, and just throw Q. But he was doing it at the right time to actually ensure there was a kill.
Yeah, and time again, landing those kills were enough to convert that advantage for Aimee. And from their Baron fight, it was a very swift closeout into a victory. So, moving forward into the next set, what are we looking for to change? Because again, OMG are the higher seed in this. They are the fan favorite, they are the analyst favorite, but you can't count Aimee out. And now OMG find themselves down.
I think the craziest thing for me is that they still gave over the Kog'Maw to Jinjao. Like, give him the Ashe, it's fine. If you think the Ashe is a bigger deal, then ban it away. But they didn't even ban it. They looked at a Nautilus and Ivern, and they tried to take away these other players' pocket picks that are working well for them. But realistically, You ban Ivern so they can't play Caitlyn. He'll play Caitlyn anyway.
Yeah.
You don't ban Ashe. He picks Kog'Maw because it's his #1 champion. Like, reassess your bans in your drafting phase. Be on blue side. Maybe first pick the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can change things up. We're going to go ahead and get ready for a quick break. Thank you so much for bearing with us for the pause. We have finally wrapped up game number 1, and we'll have number 2 coming shortly.